Yeah. So that's pretty much what happened.
Wow. I had a lot of stuff at work like that too.
This is new, right? This is too new. Yeah. But this attack thing is the serious thing is not just my own being victimization. It's just that this network, what it is that they are selling individuals their time. They're like selling them, they're prostituting them. Okay, but this prostituting is done by remote. Okay, it's the remote system. It's a raping game. Somebody will pay to rape you remotely. And
but is it astrally? Are you guys talking about astrally?
Yeah, it's like when you fall asleep, they occur in cycles. I don't know if you understand the sleeping cycles. I think the sleeping cycle, when your body generates quantums, right? The body rejuvenates like quantums, and that's what they're stealing. And the way they maximize that stealing is to exercise sexual acts, and that excitement will maximize their profit in terms of harnessing your quantum. So the buyer is playing a game of raping because they're like just raping. They get their highs and the abuses. The seller has nothing to offer except they're selling the targeted victim. So the seller is reaping huge amount of profits off somebody they don't know they're being victimized.
Well, what is the medium? Is it are they going to like a facility and getting hooked up to a machine, and then they're like they're astrally traveling to my house, or is it like they take a pill?
Good question. What? The abuser would have somebody attached, some instrument attached to their body, okay? And I don't want to describe what they are. I never seen them, but I can only imagine, okay? You can well imagine what they are, but they're just attached to the body that they could simulate intercourse. Okay? But the system would hook up to computer and the internet. But what happens is they're using both the internet and the quantum link. It's like a wormhole link. Okay, if you understand wormhole theory, this is a wormhole that they're creating a wormhole directly to a person, and that wormhole is a folding of the space-time continuum, so that they are practically right next to you, right? The wormhole, okay? And even though they're like remote, but because of this wormhole, they can really suck energy off you as if they're in the same room. So that is the wild technology, and that is the important thing, whatever it is. But this thing does exist, and it's been working. And I know for a fact, because I myself experienced that extensively, and I fought it off with my creation. I created my own technique, and these days, because I understand I study all the theories and things, I come up with my own technology, and my technology just a set of techniques, and what it does is do the time bending I just mentioned, and then what happens is the attack would being rolled back in the hologram at the time. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. So basically, I roll back the time through the through the tunnel, through the wormhole, or whatever it is, they are basically they're screwing themselves up instead of me. So so
Yeah.
and they all the time they're thinking raping me, but they're not, because I have a way working with time. And I'm all fine now. I'm completely recovered. But they're still trying, because this is the diabolic part. When you are when a victim like myself is sold in that black market,
is it through the press, the language?
They're like, you're being blackmailed, you're being hijacked. Part of you is stolen in their system forever, and then they're selling you forever. Like, so every night I have to defend, like, this attack, somebody will buy you, right? Somebody will buy your time, and then I immediately know. Yeah, so I have to employ my reaction, and then
sorry.
So, but the my long-term objective is develop my technology to a place where I can track them and expose them and catch them in the course of justice. So that would be my next target. Yeah, buy your time, and then I immediately know. Yeah, so I have to employ my reaction, and then
sorry.
So, but the my long-term objective is develop my technology to a place where I can track them and expose them and catch them in the course of justice. So that would be my next target. Yeah.
What do you need? Did you say you needed people to to volunteer? I've already got one. Didn't you say that, John?
I didn't say that for this particular project. I say that for the COVID. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
This one obviously, if there's a person that is in the same victimized position like I am, and experience the same thing, and are willing to work with me, definitely it will be more than saving him or her than to proving anything. Yeah.
John, have you tried doing any like blood magic with your own blood and writing like that you do not consent of use of your DNA beyond?
Oh.
That might help release the spell that is still bound on your DNA, like reclaiming ownership.
Yeah.
And writing it down with your blood.
I tried. Yeah. No, I tried written in my algorithm. My algorithm includes this. Yeah. Good. So definitely, not only that, it definitely involved a series of victims, because when they're victimizing you, usually they involve another person. Basically, in the Astral, they would use if you're a male, they would use a female victim to target you, and then if you're female, then they would stow a male demon to target you. But both of those demons are stolen from a live person. So basically, they are victimizing two individuals during the act. They themselves are reaping the benefit behind. So it's like very, very tricky. And so in my analysis, and I put all those in my algorithm, like what you described, like releasing the DNA bond, and those intent are all there. But when it become effective is it wasn't effective in stopping the abuse. It's the only thing that stopped them is my time bending, and completely bend back their assault wave. And that's the only thing so far that I succeed. And that's only because if you release I don't know about the declaration of claiming your DNA bond, how to do that properly. Maybe I wasn't doing it right, or but as far as I know, because this thing involves government, it's not some private group that can manage to steal your DNA. It's the government, and it's the federal government in the United States, and it's the state government in China. Both of them owns mind control technologies. And I think part of that mind control technology was leaked or being corrupted into what I just described as an underground network of trafficking human DNA and selling for profit network.
Yeah.
So this is a huge deal. If one day I got exposed, both the United States government and the Chinese government needs to apologize to their own citizens by keeping this secret in the first place, because they are targeting their own citizens in order to develop this top secret technology. And this top secret technology is often abused by whoever gets a hold of it, because it's top secret and then there's no chase. Nobody can chase them. It's a perfect haven for criminals.
Right.
They can do whatever they want. And not only that, they're making huge profit by attacking you. So it's like a gold mine for criminals. How can they stop? If you carry a criminal mind, they would do such robbing a bank, right? But this is like the most covert and the most hidden and most secretive way of reaping huge profit, and they'll never stop unless we have a way of proving it, exposing it. So yeah, and to answer your previous question, I am interested in finding the same victim and provide testimony and proving, and using my work to protect them and proving it. I already have one lady from America that wrote an article. I show you, right, Melissa? Yeah, that lady was in the same shoe, being abused, and I helped her, and she had a boyfriend of mine now. I think they're married now, so they're probably free from all these troubles.
That's cool.
So they have, yeah. So I want to find more people like that to help them. The more victims I can help, that probably more opportunity to catch the criminals. You know what I mean? Yeah.
Yes.
Because the more scenarios we gather, I work for the federal government, but what about the other victims? Obviously, not all of them work for the federal government. How did they get their DNA stolen? So we can investigate, right? We can find one link to something. So.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Oh.
Anyway.
There's lots of people I can think of, just got to ask them. Don't you think, Aphrodite? This mind control.
I do think this realm does have some fundamental laws that even the controllers are held under, and I think one of those is informed consent. And it seems to be like once you realize that your DNA is being used beyond what you thought it was being used for, or that it was even being used at all, that you can kind of declare to the universe, like, hey, this is not what I signed up for. I didn't know. You didn't tell me my DNA was being used for this reason. I revoke anything that I agreed to, because this was not declared to me, and I was sedated when I agreed to this agreement. Therefore, this contract is non-binding. And I used to have pretty heavy astral sexual attacks. After my divorce, I was married and then I got divorced, and I was dating a lot of different types of people, and I wasn't very selective, and I was getting even when, so I would let people, like people I was dating come into my house, and then after they left, it would be like the next day I'd have sleep paralysis. I'd have these like dark beings holding me down, like these shadow beings like holding me down, and I'd be waking up screaming, like, and it wasn't when I did blood over intent and like actually released my DNA, because I felt that they had clones of me. They built like they had like these like half alien, half me, like creatures in lab vats, like dead and preserved in formaldehyde, and I could like see like creatures like on life support, like with IVs, and doing experiments on them. And it's like I released all of my consent for any of my DNA that is being used outside of my body. And that did something. It really did. When I put my blood on that, like it really stopped those like astral attacks.
So you're saying you literally take a drop of your own blood and do some prayer or something like that?
I write it down on a piece of paper. And put your blood on it.
Oh, I see.
Yeah.
Thank you. I did not do. Like I did not physically make a drop of blood over the declaration. I did have a declaration written, but thank you for that. I'm gonna try that and see.
I think you have to say it and you have to write it, and then you put your blood on it, and then you could set it on fire or not. It's up to you.
Right. Yeah. Oh my God. Why didn't I think of that? Gee. I did all these other more crazy thing like remote healing. Why didn't I use my own blood?
They were saying, do you remember when it all started? They were saying you have to publish it on YouTube.
That's the other thing. You probably should videotape it and publish it so that it's actually like a legal communication to your abusers. Like it's like a post office. The internet, since the internet is being used as the vehicle of abuse, you have to kind of like post. You're like, hey, this is my official declaration of my revocation of consent. Here's my DNA as signature.
Yes, thank you. I'll think of something. I'm gonna do that in such a way that it would trigger some action in the federal government.
And it has to personal to you, like whatever is in your heart, that you like don't consent to any use of your DNA outside of your body or outside of your field of influence, or however you word it.
Wow, thank you for that clue.
You're welcome.
Wow, it's powerful. This is powerful. Because now I can, as you're saying it, I'm already imagining the fact that you put a blood on that piece of paper with the declaration, because what I understand from the science of Kilanta is actually you're mixing the DNA signature from your blood that when you're putting out on a piece of paper is actually it's called a morphogenetic field. It's going to tie that statement, which is Keelan code, where you write as a human language, and you mentally and in written language stating it in a physical form, writing it down in a physical form with the drop of your own blood. That's called a manifestation. That manifestation is not just something mental; it's physical, and that will have consequence in the hologram. Basically, it would have realistic, it would have real results. Yeah, because it was manifested. Very good.
Yes.
Okay,
Yeah,
thank you.
because there's a saying, isn't there? There's a quote. There's a really famous quote. You won't find truth in old books, but you'll find it in a drop of your very blood.
Yeah. Right. Yeah.
I can't remember.
Another thing I thought of, like, it's kind of tied to your wormhole time warp, is like going back to the memory of when you provided your DNA sample. Like if you remember it and like picture yourself like giving your friend's fingernail, or you switch the samples and you give somebody else's sample, or you give your dog's hair, or I don't know what kind of sample you gave, but like you go back in your memory and you remember yourself being some kind of trickster and switching the samples, and then that like produces a whole new future where they can't control you because they never had your DNA in the first place, kind of thing.
Right. Yeah. Well, that's a magician's hand. Yeah, but I probably wouldn't do that. If I were to do that time reversal, I'll probably just, like you said, just prohibited the sample from being misused. Yeah. They have a right to take that sample for good reason. But if I were to use another human being's blood, that feels like a treachery to me, and then I don't want to make another victim out of that situation. But the method is valid, though. Your visualization of the past, I agree. It would have done something. Because
it takes a lot of energy,
the mind. Yeah, it takes a lot of, when you work in the past, it takes a lot of life energy to change the past, and I believe it would work. And it's a matter of what you wanted to change. And I think the specific thing, like what you mentioned, switching the sample is one way, because it's not like I just don't want the procedure to be performed. That's kind of hard to make, because that's like you're gonna need to change the policy, you're gonna need to change the leadership. That's harder. But switching the sample is a smaller detail that you can manage, and that kind of past reversal are easier to perform. But I think I'll think about it. I'll think about it. What's appropriate for. Yeah.
And if you think about it too, like in a surgical setting, say I had a patient. Say I had a patient and they were scheduled for surgery, and I was going to cut their toe off, right? And they hadn't signed the paperwork yet. And the nurse gives the patient some sedatives. She gives the patient some benzodiazepines and like some Valium.
Yeah.
And now I go up to the patient and I say, okay, we're ready for surgery. Yeah. Here's your consent paperwork. We're going to be cutting off your right toe. And they go, okay. And they sign the paperwork. The surgery happens. We cut off their toe. They wake up and they say, hey, nobody ever told me you were going to cut off my toe. And I say, yes, you signed right here. And they say, well, I was medicated. I was sedated already when I signed that paperwork. Well, now that paperwork is non-binding because the patient didn't know what they were signing because they were incapacitated.
So well, you just mentioned you mentioned this is a actual arguable law, right? You can really declare the contract invalid, right?
Right.
Okay, by medicated, I believe it. Well, you just remind me, you just inspire me for a thought. This is great. The mind control thing that I just mentioned, I don't think there's a law involving this. Think of what you just stated, the legislation. Think of a new legislation on the similar issue, but replace the term medication with mind control influence.
Right. That's exactly what I was saying. That you could say, like, back when I signed this contract, I was spiritually asleep. I was spiritually sedated. I didn't know what I was signing because I was spiritually medicated. But now that I have that out of my system and I'm awake, that contract is not valid anymore because I was incapacitated when I signed it.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Thank you. Oh, that. Yeah, I think we need to do that. I'm seeing a lot of problems happening because of the hypnotization effect of the mind control technology, where criminal are created as well as victims. So yesterday, as I was reading the news, I was just like making a video about the timeline change.
Guys, can I in? My phone's going to go off. I've got about 4%. So if you guys carry on talking, can you record it? Is that okay?
Oh.
My electricity's gone off. And I've hooked it up.
Oh,
so
I see.
I know, I'm